peace plan between President Trump and Russia and Ukraine. So, according to Axios, this is a huge scoop that they just put out earlier today. I'm also hearing this from a number of other sources, that this new Trump plan would end the war in Ukraine, would grant Russia parts of eastern Ukraine. Essentially is this. They want Ukraine and Zelenskyy to hand over full control of the Donbas in exchange for an end to the war. The other provinces, the other oblasts of Ukraine, which are currently occupied by Russia, although they do not cross that river, the Dnieper River, which splits, bisects Ukraine into east and west from north to south. Those provinces would remain only in Russian control up to the current line of control, the current line of contact. And therefore, according to a U.S. official, in the White House's view, that it is in Ukraine's interest to reach a deal now. And this is a 28-point plan. It calls for Russia to gain full de facto control of Lugansk and Donetsk, which is known as the Donbas. And this would basically create an area in Donbas of a DMZ. So Russia wouldn't put troops there. Ukraine wouldn't put troops there. Obviously, questions on how that would be enforced. Then in other areas, this is Kherson, Zaporizhia, the current lines of control would be frozen in place. Russia would return some land. There'd be some swaps back and forth. Now, according to this plan, this is key. The U.S. and other countries would recognize Crimea and Donbas as lawfully Russian territory. So having the U.S. agree to this could be something with the U.S. recognition that Trump would sign off on, which would be something that Russia would be able to point to even after Trump left office, even if a Democrat were in office. And we know that's something that the Russian side has brought up a few times. How do you get out of this problem of the U.S. having changing administrations with changing priorities? However, Ukraine would not be asked to recognize these territories. And it's possible that the U.S. would then go to the United Nations to look for some type of recognition there. It also says that the plan includes limitations on the size of the the Ukrainian military and limits on long-range weapons in return for U.S. security guarantees. This would include security guarantees for Ukraine, but not necessarily for obviously NATO ascension or an Article 5 treaty. I'm just reading through a lot of this now. So here are a few quotes that Axios is putting out. The Qatari and Turkish mediation helped in ending the war in Gaza and could help in ending the war in Ukraine. As we know, Turkey, of course, has been open to relations with Russia, but is also a supplier and backfiller of a lot of the Bayraktar drones that that Ukraine is using on the battlefield. Senior Qatari official participating in the talks between Trump envoy Steve Witkoff and Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelenskyy and his advisor Rustem Umerov said last weekend that actually, so the Qataris were present. This is actually breaking news. I'm realizing this as I read the sentence. Breaking news that the Qataris are now also involved in the peace talks between Russia and Ukraine.